guys, welcome back to Lisa Study Guides. I guess the title is pretty dramatic because today's video is about 7 deadly sins. But mainly I kind of just wanted to spend time talking to you about common English writing mistakes, and these are mistakes that I see from students over and over again throughout my entire teaching history, which has been 10 years of tutoring VCE students. So, you know, if these are common mistakes that just keep propping up over and over again, then I'm sure that this video will be really helpful for you, and I guess you can see whether or not you are making any of these mistakes and hopefully overcome them with the tips that I'll be giving you today. I want to thank Uni Days for sponsoring this video, and I'm actually really excited to be working with Uni Days because I remember when I was a student, I used to use Uni Days and they would give me discounts on things like ASOS, Cotton On, KKK, Booktopia, which were all places that I often frequented when I was a student. And the best thing of all was that they gave you discounts. So, you know, if you're a student, you're usually on a budget, and so having those free extra discounts would be really helpful in terms of just saving up for a purchase. So if you guys are interested in Uni Days, then it's free to sign up, and there's a link down in the description box just down below. They've got a variety of different brands that they support and offer you discounts on. So no matter who you are and where you shop, I have a feeling that it's gonna come in handy for you. You know, I actually wish I was still a student just so that I could get these discounts, but lo and behold. Anyways, let's move on. 7 deadly sins. Deadly English writing sin number 1, the title. What students often do is they just write the title, but they forget to underline it or put it in quotations. And so it's important that you do so just so that you can show the teacher that you are aware and show your reader that this is in fact the title of the book you're writing on. Don't do both title and quotation because the double whammy is also wrong. Deadly English writing sin number 2, apostrophes. Apostrophes are a really funny one because I often find students will just chuck in an apostrophe wherever they just think it might fit, whether it's before the S or after the S, or, you know, maybe somewhere all the way far away. But here are a few pointers for you. If it's somebody's name that doesn't end with the S, so majority of us, then it's Orwell's book. So for example, the apostrophe comes after the name. This type of apostrophe is to show that he possesses that book, it's his. If there is an S at the very end, like Zeus, put the apostrophe at the very end. This is because if you wanted to do it the other way, like Orwell's, you could have an S at the end like that, but you know, it just kind of looks funny, and I don't know why. I'll be completely honest with you, I don't know the complete rule behind it, but I know that because you've already got an S at the end of this name, you don't need an extra S. So it almost just disappears. So what we've dealt with so far are singular words. But what if you had a plural, like lots of readers? So what if we had readers' sense of guilt versus readers' sense of guilt? How does that actually work? If it's the reader and you're talking about one person, then it is apostrophe S. But if it's plural, the apostrophe comes after the S. The way that you could remember it is that if the apostrophe is at the end, all the letters are grouped together as though it's a collection and a plural in a sense. But if the S is on its own, then I kind of think of it as though it's for singular use. A way to remember all of these differences is just to have it in front of you as a reminder. What I do is I like to write things down in a sticky note and just stick it in front of me whenever I'm studying. As you can see, I actually don't know our Lisa Study Guides company phone number, so I've written that down and stuck it in front of me, and it's actually really helped because I can always just refer to it whenever I need, and I don't need to keep second guessing myself. Deadly sin number 3, apostrophes for the word it. So with the word it, you've got its, which is a contraction of it is. Then you've got its, where there's no apostrophes. And this essentially means something that possesses something else. So don't mind my boo-boo there, it says snow. Its snow drifted to the ground. So what I'm talking about here is a snow globe, and the snow that's within it has drifted to the ground. Sorry about my picture, it's absolutely gross. I don't know how to draw. And off the top of my head, we usually use its for objects and animals. An apostrophe after the S is not correct. So hopefully that should make things a little bit easier for you. Deadly number sin 4. Starting a sentence with which. This one seems to be a little bit more contentious. I personally thought of it as a massive no-no to start a sentence with the word which, until I read Magda Szubanski's Reckoning, where she completely trashed my beliefs by starting multiple sentences with the word which. But I feel like for students, often it's done in the wrong way. For example, Werner retrieves the small house from the grotto, which is why it was found in his belongings after his death. For me, it's just unnecessary having them split up into 2 sentences. It's a frustrating read to believe that you finished a sentence only to restart it when it could have been written like this. Werner retrieves the small house from the grotto, which is why it was found in his belongings after his death. I get that starting a sentence with which could be for dramatic effect, like perhaps in Magda Szubanski's Reckoning, but for most students, I'd recommend not starting your sentences with the word which. Deadly English sin number 5. Sentences that are just quotes. Here's an example. Werner's increasing guilty conscience comes to a zenith when he is near death. Dead girl in the sky, dead girl out the window, dead girl 3 inches away. See the theme of deadly here? His sense of right and wrong now materialize. Instead of having a quote just by itself, have this. Werner's increasing guilty conscience comes to a zenith when he sees dead girl in the sky, dead girl out the window, dead girl 3 inches away, as he is trapped underground. His sense of right and wrong now materializes. ... So in the second example, there's more fluency in the sentence and more coherence with the ideas that are being presented. Avoid having quotes on their own because it shows that you're unable to integrate them with the remainder of your ideas. And possibly you may run the risk of showing your teacher or examiner that you're only just putting it in there because you know you have to put some sort of quote, but you don't really understand how to actually incorporate that quote. Deadly English common sin number 6. Although ... what? The wrong way is just writing a fragment sentence, which means it's incomplete. The most common mistake I'm thinking of is when students start a sentence with although as the first word and then just add a full stop after the first phrase. So the wrong way of doing that is although the coffee was scalding hot. Although what? Although means that in spite of that, even though. So there needs to be some sort of fact that follows it. It's not going to make sense if the sentence is, even though the coffee was scalding hot. Instead, it should be, although the coffee was scalding hot, she drank it anyway. Although is not the same as however, and I often find students using although in the introduction incorrectly. However is used to contradict or go against a statement made in the previous sentence. The easiest way I can think of it, and this is what works most of the time, is that the contrasting statement with although must be in the same sentence, whereas with the word however, it can be in a separate statement. Although there was the risk of complications, she decided to go ahead with the surgery. However, the surgery wasn't without risks. And finally, our 7th deadly English writing sin. No use of commas. A great way to avoid this is just read your essay out loud. As you read it aloud, notice when you take breathers, and so those breathers should become commas. For example, Spiegelman tries to work through his relationship with his father first by juxtaposing the different timelines present in the novel. And secondly, by splitting his father and himself into various different characters in visually distinct styles. The prologue of Mouse does not only provide insight into the bind in which the Holocaust places art, it also allows the reader to sense the origin of such a distant relationship. Woo! So you can see from my breathing that we need a comma in these two sentences. One after his father, one after in the novel, and one after Holocaust places art. This way it's going to be much easier to read. Let's try again. Spiegelman tries to work through his relationship with his father. First by juxtaposing the different timelines present in the novel, and secondly by splitting his father and himself into various different characters in visually distinct ways. The prologue of Mouse does not only provide insight into the bind in which the Holocaust places art, it also allows the reader to sense the origin of such a distant relationship. And those are the 7 deadly English writing sins that I'm going to share with you today. Let me know in the comment section below, how many of these deadly sins do you do? Do you consider them to be deadly sins? And what other deadly sins are there out there? I hope you guys have reaped the benefits from this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!